Hello, everyone. I'm Sibel Edmonds with Newsbud. As always, the mainstream media and establishment pseudo alternatives are busy selling Americans lies and deceit. The latest being this completely false notion of unprecedented voter turnout in the recent elections, when in fact 48% of eligible US voters abstained from voting. Well, I was one of them. Here is one publication beautifully putting this reality into perspective. If did not vote had been a candidate in the 2016 US presidential election, it would have won by a landslide. As a percentage of eligible voters, Clinton received 26% of all votes, Trump got 26%, while did not vote received 43.1%. Let me put it this way. Almost half of the electorate did not vote, for many reasons. For most, it was due to widespread disgust at both major party candidates and the weakness, lameness of third parties. For this episode, I want to focus on Third Parties USA. I want us to collectively examine the main reason for the weakness or lameness of current third parties. I want all of us to put our heads together to investigate whether the weak and lame third parties option is by design. Even further, could this be a case of a limited hangout of third parties for a dog and pony show only? If you listen to the establishment's academia and media, here is what they are telling you. I'm taking this verbatim from Newsweek, a well-known establishment propaganda machine. That's not going to happen. Third party or independent presidential candidates face severe institutional barriers to viability, real and perhaps even more importantly, as perceived by American voters. First, thanks to Newsweek and the rest of the establishment media outlets and academia repeating this notion for decades and decades, it has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Seriously, think about it. When generation after generation of Americans are told repeatedly that that's never going to happen, it is impossible, what do you think is going to happen? Right, it becomes a successfully manufactured reality. Second, when they talk about institutional barriers to viability, what do you think they are talking about? They are trying to turn this into a cause and effect situation when in fact it is a case of the chicken or the egg. Why? Institutional practices, aka policies, are mostly created based on public perception, whether organic perceptions or in reality via manufactured perception and consent. So, of course, there are some institutional barriers, mostly perceived thanks to media outlets such as Newsweek and the entire establishment channels. Let's turn this on its head. What would it take to eliminate the institutional barriers and replace them with policies and practices conducive to third parties? It always starts with perceptions. Then the perceptions created public demand, which in turn translates into new institutional policies. No? So when you have Newsweek and the rest of the media and academia creating, manufacturing the perception that third parties will never have a chance, that they are not viable options, of course you are going to have institutional practices that prohibit third parties. Now let's move from Newsweek and the like, the manufacturers of false paradigms, and look at the hard facts. Let's look at the data. Americans were so dissatisfied with the presidential candidates from the two major parties that a third-party independent effort was truly viable for the first time since Abraham Lincoln's election. That's the shocking result of a new national poll. Data Targeting Inc. conducted the nationwide poll using live telephone surveys in May 2016. According to the poll, 58% of respondents are dissatisfied with the current Republican and Democratic candidates for presidents. 55% favor having a third-party independent candidate for president, including a stunning 91% of voters under the age of 29. The most important thing we learned here is that there is a significant number of voters who are not satisfied with these two choices, and that story has been way underreported. Okay, If that's true, that there is this great demand for third party options, why are the currently available third parties so weak and so lame? I know what many of you are thinking. Oh, that's because the mega corporations give billions of dollars to the red pill, blue pill candidates and not to the third parties. Or, oh, that's because the mainstream media and pseudo alternative outlets with big reach are ignoring the third parties. Maybe. But today, with all the available technology through internet, social media channels, a gazillion direct fundraising platforms, there are inventors who raise tens of millions of dollars in a week for their ideas and connect with interested people and potential buyers directly. Yet, with this level of demand for alternative candidates' parties and with all these available tools, we are looking at a group of weak, lame, and pathetic third party options. Let's watch and listen to the following so-called non-mainstream Democratic candidate asking people to swallow a corrupt criminal blue pill.
Secretary Clinton goes into the convention with 389 more pledged delegates than we have and a lot more superdelegates. Secretary Clinton has won the Democratic nominating process. She will be the Democratic nominee for president, and I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
And this brings me to my final question for all of us, and I want you to keep an open mind. Is it possible that the current so-called third-party options are nothing but a manufactured illusion of third-party options? Just like the sugar daddies funded NGOs we have been talking about, is this a case of a limited hangout? Is it a way for the deep state to make its case? When was the last or first time you heard of a third party, and yes, with budgets of tens of millions of dollars that they have, actually challenging a major institutional practice or a barrier? Allow me to give you a real example. Currently, public schools in the USA hold mock elections as a teaching tool and tell their students from kindergartners to high school seniors that they have to cast their vote and that there are only two options, only two choices, only two candidates. They can vote for the red pill candidate or the blue pill candidate, and that they only have a choice between the two. When students question or challenge them, the school authorities tell them that's the only way, and that's the American way, and that those third-party candidates are not real, thus not included. My own daughter, an 8-year-old, just went through that here in Bend, Oregon, and I have invited all the third parties who deem themselves real to begin challenging these institutional malpractices that can be easily challenged in courts. So far, I have received zero response. Personally, the deeper I delve into the current third parties, the more convinced I become of the limited hangout answer. Now it's your turn. What say you on the possibility of the current third parties being a limited hangout to maintain the illusion of choice? This and all other Newsbud presentations have been made possible by your subscriptions and donations. Our current Kickstarter campaign has only 4 days to go, so please do your share and pledge today. Thank you all.
Last June, a new media platform was introduced, and the people spoke, making Newsbud the #1 most successful journalism campaign in Kickstarter history. Leading the Newsbud team with nearly 2 decades of a proven track record is award-winning activist, publisher, and author Sibel Edmonds.
Hi, I'm Sibel Edmonds, the founder and editor of Newsbud, a 100% people-funded media with integrity. About a year ago, as I set about creating the objectives of this one-of-its-kind media project, the establishment and establishment-oriented people called it a mission impossible. According to them, A media model 100% free of corporate advertisement, a media entity without backing from foundation sugar daddies, a news organization that refrained from subscribing to partisan politics, the red or blue pill, was an impossible dream. Last June, thanks to you, thanks only to you, not only did we make the phase 1 of this media project possible, but with your backing, we also made it the most successful and most funded Kickstarter journalism project of all time. Everything we have accomplished has been made possible by you.
Newsbud is building a one-of-a-kind, multimedia news platform only made possible by you, the people. No corporate advertisers, no money from the foundations, and no government ties. We are the only 100% people-funded multimedia news source out there. Your support is needed. This allows Newsbud to recruit the best and the brightest from around the world to give you the news and analysis you won't find anywhere else. The Newsbud team as a whole speaks 7 different languages. This unique quality allows Newsbud to offer you unmatched geopolitical news and analysis from Sibel Edmonds, Christoph Yerman, and Philip Kovacevic of Russia Newspaper Monitor.
Be a part of the movement for making possible the new democratic, independent media on the internet. Support Newsbud.
We have writers and analysts who served in the military, providing expert exposés on the military-industrial complex, like Christian Sorensen in his monthly Department of Defense reports, and Newsbud analyst Eric Moshe.
Newsbud's work is shaping up to make big dents in the artificial armor of corporate media conglomerates, who run sanitized news programs and rarely show every side of the story when it comes to world events and analyses. However, with this breakthrough platform, we've got the potential to become a treasure trove of meaningful exposés, holding powerful people and organizations accountable and tracking international fervor as it unfolds. If you are looking for a well-organized effort characterized by integrity, valuable insights, and admirable motives, look no further.
Seasoned investigative researcher, writer, editor, and producer of the Geopolitical Report, Kurt Nimmo.
Newsbud is an important alternative to media produced by the corporate propaganda matrix and the national security state. Every week we produce content that you won't find covered by establishment media outlets that claim to offer investigative journalism. Please consider joining us in making Newsbud the #1 most funded Kickstarter journalism project of all time. People need to know what's really going on in the world, and Newsbud is working toward that goal. Thanks for your support.
Newsbud executive producer and editor Spiro Skouras.
We are extremely grateful and humbled from the overwhelming support that we received during our initial campaign. Phase 1 allowed Newsbud to establish our foundation, which is key for any operation. In Phase 2, we intend to build upon that foundation and expand our operation. Having access to the needed resources will ensure that Newsbud will remain a leader and trendsetter in the alternative media and beyond.
Support independent media. Go to Kickstarter.com today.
We have a long way to go, not only to continue, but to expand, become more effective, and grow together. We are only answerable to you, and you are the only ones who can keep Newsbud in existence and allow it to go much further in pursuit of journalism with integrity. Please join us. Join the Newsbud movement by kindly and generously pledging towards this 100% people-funded media with integrity. We have accomplished a lot, but this is only the beginning, and that is my promise to you.